Hey friends, if you're looking for some quick, budget-friendly dinner ideas that practically make themselves, you're in the right place today. I've got 6 super easy recipes that you can whip up on one of those just get something on the table kind of nights. Plus, stick around because I'm saving the most surprisingly delicious one for last. Let's jump in, y'all. Alright, first we're going to give our slow cooker a good spray. And next we're just going to place in those chicken breasts. Just have about 3 good-sized chicken breasts. Next, the recipe I'm kind of going by says to mix all the seasonings in a bowl first. You can do that, but I figure why mess up another bowl? Because all we're going to do is sprinkle it all on top anyway. So I'm going to add our garlic salt. Next, I'm going to sprinkle on that cayenne pepper. And I might not add quite all of this. I do want my kids to eat it, so I'm gonna hold back just a little bit on that. Next, let's bring over that smoked paprika. Next, we're just gonna sprinkle on all of that brown sugar. We're also gonna pour that vinegar right on top. It's not much at all, actually. And of course, we're gonna add that honey. The recipe calls for a cup of honey just drizzled over the top like this. If you wanna measure out a cup of honey, go ahead and spray your cup measure down with some cooking spray and then do it, but I'm just gonna guesstimate because they're drizzling it right on top anyway, about a cup. And lastly, I have half a stick of butter right here. I just cut it up. We're gonna place it right on top. And the recipe I'm following says you can cook this on high for 2 hours or low for 3. But I think I'm gonna stick with low with all that honey in there. I'm just kind of nervous for it to burn. So I'm gonna start with low. My crock pot cooks kind of hot anyway. So I'm gonna go with low for about 3 hours. We'll check in and see how it looks. All right, y'all, if y'all see me back here, yes, I got my robe on. I'm getting ready. We have some things to do tonight. But let's give our chicken a little peek. It is looking and smelling delicious in here. And it is falling apart on my fork as well. So, all right, y'all, our hot honey chicken is done. Shredded all up. I have some toasted buttery hamburger buns over here. Just gonna pile some on there. Of course, I got my pickles waiting over here on the side. Cannot have hot honey without some dill pickle chips on top. It looks so good. This is such a simple meal, but I think it's gonna be delicious. I might have snuck a piece of this chicken. It is really, really good. Get a few of those pickles on there. I'm gonna serve ours with some tater tots on the side. Y'all, that looks pretty good to me. Next up, we have this chicken tot pie. And this is the perfect meal to make at the end of a busy day. All the flavors of traditional chicken pot pie with a tater tot crust. What's not to love? So we're gonna start with a skillet, of course. I have a couple tablespoons of butter. And then another little shortcut is I use some of these frozen diced onions. I only needed a little bit, that way I don't have to chop an entire onion. I just poured some of those into my skillet and they will saute up just like a fresh onion would. At this point, I'm also gonna add a couple tablespoons of flour and a little bit of salt and pepper to season it up. And I'm just gonna cook that 3 or 4 minutes to cook down that flour and the butter, and this is gonna be the perfect flavorful base for that chicken pot pie filling. Next, I'm going to whisk in some milk and also some chicken broth. I'm just gonna kind of slowly pour it in and continually whisk all that. It's gonna be smooth and it will start to thicken up. All right, next we're gonna add our veggies to our filling. You can add whatever veggies you prefer in your pot pie or no veggies at all if you don't want any, but these frozen peas and carrots make this so easy and again, just come together so easily and so quickly. We're also gonna bring back over that rotisserie chicken. Once we have everything combined, we're just gonna bring over a baking dish. And by the way, I actually halved this recipe and it was perfect for our family of 4 and we had a little bit of leftovers. So Just saying, this recipe, it does make quite a bit, but we're gonna get that filling in our baking dish, and then we're gonna top with tater tots. And I just like to put mine on in one even layer. If you wanna line your tater tots up and make it all pretty, you can do that as well, but this is going into the oven for about 45 minutes, and then we're just gonna pull it out, and this part is optional, but the recipe I was following topped with a little bit of sharp cheddar cheese, and we love cheese, so I thought we would try it. And it was so good. The tater tots actually got very crispy even with the cheese on top. It only bakes about 5 more minutes after you add the cheese. Once that cheese is completely melted, you want to serve it up nice and hot. This one actually surprised us a little bit. I knew that we would enjoy it, but even the flavor was a lot more than even I anticipated. So this is a perfect weeknight, super easy meal to add to your rotation. So for this recipe, you're gonna need some cubed potatoes, or you can use the frozen cubed hash browns. I like to use this kind you can find over in just the refrigerated section. These are not frozen because they are already seasoned. They already have onions and peppers in here. So since we're only using 3 ingredients, that's just gonna add to the flavor. So you wanna use about 28 ounces, whether you're using the frozen kind or this kind. This is not quite 28 ounces, it's about 20. So I have 2 bags, and I'm just gonna use about 1.5 bags. Next to our potato soup, we're gonna add 1 packet of country gravy mix. Y'all might remember I used country gravy mix a few months ago in a soup recipe for the first time. It totally blew my mind, but it was delicious. So I'm excited to try this again. Sprinkle that all on top of our potatoes. And then for our 3rd ingredient, we're gonna need about 4 cups of chicken broth. You can use just a carton of chicken broth, or y'all know I like to use the chicken base. You just mix it with water, and that is it. So I have my stove turned on to medium. I'm gonna get this up simmering, and I'm gonna let it simmer for just about 30 minutes, but this won't take long at all. 3 ingredients, and then we're gonna be able to top it with whatever toppings we have on hand. It's gonna be delicious. My favorite thing about this soup was that it comes together so quickly. As I was bringing up the soup to a simmer, I just came over and stirred it occasionally, but you can see it thickened right up in just a matter of minutes. So as long as those potatoes get soft, it really takes no time. All right, y'all can see how creamy this potato soup is. This is quite amazing, if I do say so myself. Just those 3 ingredients when you need something quick and cheap, relatively cheap. That is so awesome. This has just been simmering for about 20 minutes. Now, of course, this is optional. This is gonna make it 4 ingredients. You don't need this. I just tasted it. It's great as is, but I have some milk, and I'm just gonna thin it out with just a splash of milk. And of course, this whole soup is really just a good base. You can add whatever flavors, any other toppings, add-ins that you want. But I think it looks so good. If you want to sprinkle some cheese in the whole thing, you could of course do that. I think we'll just top ours with cheese or whatever anybody wants. This soup surprisingly had so much flavor, but I will tell you, if you don't love spicy stuff, maybe try to find the potatoes that are just plain, the ones that are not seasoned. And then for the country gravy mix, I know sometimes some brands can have a little bit of spice to them. We like the spice, but I just wanted to put that out there. Just be mindful if you don't love it so much, but I will definitely be making this one again. I'm just going to be using my big iron skillet, just adding a little bit of avocado oil, and I have some chopped onions. Just going to get that sauteing up a couple minutes. This recipe says to brown up your ground beef and your onion just together, but anytime it calls for chopped onion in something like this, I like to saute mine just a few minutes before I add in my ground beef or whatever it is. I like just a little bit of caramelization going on with my onions. Also, while that's working, I have another pot over here on the side. I'm just gonna boil up some of these egg noodles, the whole package, just according to the package directions. All right, my onions are starting to get a little bit of good color on those. Let's go ahead and add 1 pound of ground beef. We're gonna add about 1/4 teaspoon of paprika. And I'm also gonna go in with that Auntie No-No's everything seasoning. Just sprinkle some on. Okay, so I went ahead and drained my meat. Like I said, I'm just gonna re-season just a little bit. I'm sure I didn't pour off too much of that, but just in case I poured off a lot of that seasoning. I'm also gonna add just a few little splashes of Worcestershire sauce. I'm also adding 1 cup of sour cream. And then 1 can of cream of mushroom soup. Now we're just gonna stir everything together. All right, I'm just gonna bring this back up, let this simmer to get all nice and warm through while our egg noodles are finishing cooking up, and they'll be ready to put all this together. All right, so you can totally just serve this over top of egg noodles, but I think I'm gonna pour mine in there today. And I can tell you, just for making beef stroganoff in the past, this makes perfect leftovers, and also this is a really good make-ahead meal. I'm actually making mine earlier than dinner time today, so I know when I'm ready to heat this back up, it'll still be perfect. But I can't wait, so let's go ahead and fix up a plate. Give it a little bit of parsley just for some color on top. There we go, delicious dinner in only about 30 minutes. And this would be a 1 skillet meal if it wasn't for just cooking the pasta on the side. And these are the ingredients we're gonna use. Only a few ingredients, but if you've never made this before, don't be surprised. This has so much flavor and it's just something about it. So we are gonna need some chicken broth. This is the reduced sodium kind. We'll need 1 can of creamy chicken soup. This is a 12-ounce bag of the wide egg noodles. I have a stick of butter out here, but I'm not gonna use the entire stick. We also have some better than bouillon, and then I'll probably just use the pepper, not so much the salt. All right, the first thing I'm doing, just getting my chicken broth in the pot. Also to our chicken broth, we're gonna add a spoonful of this better than bouillon. So you definitely wanna get the low sodium chicken broth because this is salty. So we don't want our salt content to be crazy high. All right, that'll melt down as this comes up to a simmer. We're also gonna go ahead and add in some black pepper. Like I said, we're definitely not gonna add salt here. We will taste it later on if we need it, but we probably won't. So I'm gonna add in our black pepper. We're just gonna bring this up to a boil. All right, you can see our water has come up to a simmer. So now all we're gonna do, grab my bag of egg noodles and we're just gonna dump these right in. So the broth won't fully cover your noodles, but I'm gonna pop the lid on here and let this go probably 5 to 10 minutes. All right, y'all, our noodles have been cooking just a few minutes. So now it's time to add in our cream of chicken soup. Give that another stir, and we'll let these continue to cook until our noodles are tender. Will not take long at all. This is one of those meals that you could have this for a side dish. Like I said, you could do like we used to and add chicken in with it. That's what I'm actually gonna do tonight. But you could add veggies in here, anything, but just this recipe on its own is so budget friendly. It's probably less than $5 to make. I didn't calculate it, but everything in here is super cheap. Alrighty, now it's time to add in the butter. We're gonna add in our chicken now as well, so it can be kind of warming up again with everything. Probably about, I don't know, 4 or 5 tablespoons. Let that kind of melt down in there. I'm gonna go ahead and turn my stove all the way down to low. I grabbed my chicken as well. Just gonna drop it in and give it a stir, and I'll pop the lid on and just let it sit for another couple minutes, and we'll be ready to have this. And this smells good. I mean, it's just chicken broth, but both kids have already come downstairs and said, "What am I cooking? It smells delicious." So like I said earlier, it's been a while since I've made these noodles, and especially this variation, but the girls and both Darren and I loved these. Darren and I both ate 2 big old bowls full of this. It is so filling, and I cannot wait to have this on our dinner rotation, especially coming in to the fall and winter time. So I have my little chicken sausages out here. I'm just gonna slice these up into probably 1/2 inch little slices. We are gonna saute these first. I just love how good these are when they have a little bit of that caramelization going on. Also, if you don't like chicken sausage, you could do just regular smoked sausage, smoked turkey sausage, anything that you like. This would also even be good with probably some rotisserie chicken in there. All right, so we're just gonna cook our penne noodles according to box directions. We want these to be just al dente. All right, so I just have a hot skillet over here. I did use a little bit of cooking spray. Now we're gonna get that chicken sausage in the pan. And I like to just kind of spread mine out into an even layer. That way each one gets a little bit of that browned caramelization goodness going on. All right, next up I'm gonna go ahead and pour in our marinara sauce. And this will also help get all those little brown bits from the bottom that our sausage kind of created. It stuck a little bit. Put it down. That sausage did stick just a little bit. It has some sugars in there from those red peppers and stuff. But all that's going to do is add to this flavor. It's going to be delicious. I turned my stove down. I'm going to turn it back up now. That sauce smells so good. My mouth is watering. Next, I'm just going to bring over that Boursin cheese. I'm going to get it right in here. Maybe, if I can do it. There we go. I'm going to kind of break it up a little bit. I should have cut it up before I put it in here. But all we're basically going to do now is let this continue to simmer. Let this Boursin cheese melt down. As you can see, it's already starting to melt. I think it's going to go a whole lot quicker than like cream cheese or something. But yeah, I'm just going to bring this up to a simmer. Let it warm through. Let that cheese melt. And we'll be ready, y'all. Look how creamy this sauce is. It smells so good. I literally can't believe this is only 3 ingredients. And I cannot wait to try it. But next, I'm going to bring over our pasta. Darren just said this looks like a vodka sauce, and it really does. It has that same color, but I'm very anxious to see how that flavor is. All right, this looks and smells out of this world. Let's go plate this up. And y'all know I'm gonna add a garnish. I know it's technically more ingredients. This part is not necessary at all. And we have a little bit of shredded basil to go on top. Gotta have that color, but you don't have to have it. Y'all know what I mean. All right, that looks absolutely delicious. I mean, if I was served that at a restaurant, I would be happy. If you found these lazy mom meals helpful today, leave me your favorite food emoji down there in the comments. That way I'll know you stopped by today. I also have even more easy dinner ideas right here on the screen. You want to go check those out. I'll meet you guys over there, and I'll see y'all in the next video. Bye, y'all.